Hello wonderful person, welcome to Stories Quick. Today, I will explain an American sci-fi action thriller titled Tron. The movie follows a boy named Sam as he tries to save his dad from a digital hell, playing a life-or-death video game to escape. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. In the opening scene we see Kevin Flynn, a software engineer, a video game icon, and the CEO of a notable company called MCOM. He is at home sitting with his son, Sam. He tells Sam about how he and his friend, Alan Bradley, created a software game called Tron. Before leaving home that night, he tells his son he will return soon. He rides his bike and leaves. The following day, the news outlets read that Kevin is missing. Kevin was made the CEO of MCOM in 1982, and he created two video games that were the best in the country, Tron and Space Paranoids. He built his company to an enormous height until he lost his wife in 1985. This caused some irritable and obsessive decisions in Kevin until he disappeared in 1989. However, his best friend and business partner, Alan, still believes Kevin isn't missing. He says Kevin has locked himself up to create his masterpiece, which he believes will benefit the world. Alan describes it as a digital frontier to reshape the human condition. Irrespective of that, the shareholders seize control of MCOM from Alan, and they are determined to build the company back. The news doesn't meet Sam well. He runs away from him despite his grandmother's call. We now fast forward 20 years later. Sam is now the biggest shareholder of MCOM. Sam doesn't want to lead the company, and he breaks into his father's company headquarters. That day, the board members have a meeting where they decide they will no longer give out the company's best and most secure operating system, the OS 12, for free. Giving the OS 12 to school students for free is a legacy that Kevin has left behind, and Alan suggests they continue in that legacy. But the new managing director, Richard Mickey, tells him the legacy disappeared with Kevin. Unknown to them is that Sam has infiltrated the company building. Sam sneaks until he gets to the engine room, where he uploads the OS 12 on the internet for free. During the meeting, Richard is about to show the board the OS 12, but finds out the software has been stolen. Alan shows them the software on the internet. The security guard finds Sam by the rooftop. He tells the guard not to worry, saying he is the primary shareholder, as he jumps down from the rooftop, but he is arrested. Alan bails him out of jail and visits him at home. He tells him he should think about taking control of his father's company, but Sam refuses. He tells Sam that he got a page from the pager that he uses with his father, and the page is from his father's arcade. However, the arcade has been closed for about 20 years. He tells Sam he is sure his father isn't dead because 2 nights before the disappearance, Kevin came to him to tell him he is almost done with the digital reality he is creating. Alan says he hasn't been there, but he wants Sam to go first. He gives Sam the key and Sam initially refuses to go. However, he changes his mind when Alan convinces him. We pick up with Sam at the arcade, where he switches on the lights. Sam sees a sign on the floor and opens another door. When he gets there, he sees a virtual game called The Grid. He switches it off and tries the password. He remembers the last word his father told him was "see you at the back door," so he uses back door, and he is transported into some kind of virtual reality. In the new reality, he is immediately arrested by programs. We are informed the highest power in this new reality knows that he is a user, not a program, and he must participate in the games. Sam soon travels to the field. They choose the people who will be taken for the grid fight, and he is chosen. He is then taken for a grid fight. Before the fight, the program dressing him up notices he is different but doesn't talk. He goes out for the fight, not knowing anything, but in a few minutes, he figures out how to win. He proceeds to the final stage, where he fights against Rinsler. Rinsler beats him and injures him, then notices he is human. He takes him to their boss, who recognizes Sam. The boss, CLU, looks just like the younger version of Kevin, and Sam mistakes him for being his father. CLU tells him he isn't his father, but he is excited to see him. He takes him to the battlefield, and Jarvis, one of the programs, says the way to take humans from their world permanently is with a duel with CLU. CLU and Sam fight, and he joins with one of the members, but at one point, CLU overpowers Sam. Sam's bike breaks down, and as CLU is about to hit him, but a car comes just in time. The driver hits CLU and asks Sam to get in. She hits him, and she breaks through the wall of the grid, thereby escaping. He looks back and notices that the programs don't follow them. The girl explains that their device isn't programmed to leave the grid. She introduces herself as Quorra, and she drives him to Kelvin. When Kelvin sees him, he hugs him and they finally embrace. Meanwhile, CLU is expecting Kelvin to make a move. That evening, as they eat, Kelvin and Sam catch up with old times. Sam asks Kelvin why he didn't come back, and Kelvin explains that he was interested in creating a digital world. He brought Tron, who is Alan's creation, and CLU, a security program he created himself, in order to make a perfect world. Every night, they worked on trying to create a digital world. They kept problem solving until they got a miracle. The miracle Kelvin was waiting for, and the miracle he wants. It is called the ISO. It is an isomorphic algorithm that is represented as a person in the virtual world. Kelvin is super excited about it, and it seems like a breakthrough for him. That night when Kelvin went to the digital world to work, CLU called out for him and asked if he still wanted to create a perfect world. He says the ISO aren't perfect, and he starts destroying them, wiping them out completely. He kills Tron and becomes even stronger. The portal to the digital world is like a safe, which can only be opened for 8 hours, and it can only be opened from outside. So the portal closes on him, which is why he could never escape. Sam suggests that since the portal is now opened, they should leave, but Quorra tells him that if Kelvin goes to the grid, CLU will do anything to collect his hard disk, which houses everything he has ever worked on. CLU believes that if Kelvin can be in the virtual world, then he could also be in the real world. CLU hates imperfection, and he will destroy humans if he finds them. As a result, Kelvin thinks it was CLU who paged Alan, so it will prompt him to come out. Kelvin knows it's a trap, and they shouldn't fall into it. Sam insists he won't watch and let the portal close, so he tells Quorra he will go to the portal and bring help from the real world. Quorra then gives him the connection to get to Zeus, an old program that knows where the portal is. Immediately after Sam leaves, Kelvin decides to save his son, so he leaves too. CLU also finds out Kelvin has left his home, so he goes there to search. Sam meets Zeus, who betrays him and calls CLU. A fight starts at Zeus' club, and Kelvin arrives. Quorra gets injured in the fight, and Kelvin's disc is also taken by Zeus. They return to their home, where Kelvin eventually decides to take Sam's advice, and they decide to run to the portal. If they beat CLU and get to the portal before him, then they still have a chance. They take transport, and Kelvin tries to restructure Quorra. He reveals to Sam that Quorra is an ISO, the last ISO left, and she will be an outstanding achievement to the human world. On the other hand, CLU goes to Zeus' club to get the disc, and Zeus negotiates for the disc. CLU agrees with Zeus, but as soon as CLU leaves the club, he sets it on fire with Zeus in it. In the next scene, CLU ambushes Kelvin's transport, and they enter an alternate world. Kelvin beings to see unfamiliar programs. He says that CLU can't create a new program, but can only reprogram. So all his creations are just reprogrammed from Kelvin's. To distract CLU from finding them, Quorra sacrifices herself and goes to Rinsler. Before going, she gives Kelvin her disc, and Rinsler arrests her. Kelvin sees that Rinsler is Tron, but he has been reprogrammed. CLU gives a speech to his people where he tells them he will open the portal to the human world, and Sam tells his father he will find his disc before going. Sam leaves to find the disc and save Quorra. He defeats the program, and he takes the disc. He frees Quorra, and they both jump to the plane where Kelvin is. They drive together toward the portal, and when CLU notices the disc is missing, he kills the program in charge and jumps with Tron to chase the plane. When they notice CLU chasing them, Kelvin asks Sam to shoot the enemies at the back. While driving with Quorra, Kelvin exchanges his hard disk with Quorra. Tron eventually remembers who he is, and he attacks CLU, which causes them to both fall below the sea of simulation. CLU defeats Tron and goes to the portal to wait for Kelvin. When Kelvin arrives with the crew, he tries to convince CLU that the concept of perfection doesn't exist. CLU starts fighting with him, and when Sam joins the fight, Kelvin reminds CLU that it's the disk he wants. CLU goes to the other side, where Kelvin is leaving Quorra and Sam beside the portal. He divides the bridge into two, dividing them. He takes the disk behind Kelvin and finds out it's fake, and it's actually Quorra's disk. By this time, Kelvin tells Sam to leave with Quorra. CLU jumps towards the other bridge, but before he gets there, Sam leaves. Kelvin disintegrates his digital duplication, which destroys himself and CLU, and the entire digital space explodes. Upon arriving in the real world, Sam deactivates the system and pages Alan. He tells Alan he will take control of the company and makes Alan the head of the board of directors. He goes out to meet Quorra, and they ride to see the sunrise together as the movie ends. Thanks for watching the recap. Kindly subscribe to my channel to get notified when we post the next recap. See you next time.